Hi, this is Terry from Vorschlag. Today we're going to show you how to check your shocks or your top mounts for wear, and then what to do after you find any. We have a customer's Miata in the shop today. We put some MCS dampers on that car in 2017, and unfortunately it sat outside for quite a long time, and the weather and elements did their number on a lot of things on the car. You know, letting a car sit for a long time, especially out in the weather, doesn't do it any good, so these shocks kind of were along for the ride. We're just kind of going through the car, and as we did, Christian noted some wear on the rear shocks, and I'm going to show you how to check your shocks for wear. And this pertains to monotube dampers, which is all we sell here at Vorschlag. We sell MCS, Öhlins, H&R, sometimes a Bilstein in a pinch, and they all have a high nitrogen pressure. There's a nitrogen chamber inside the bottom of all these dampers or in a remote reservoir. And that's what kind of holds the whole thing together. When that nitrogen leaks out, things start to leak and they need to be rebuilt as quickly as possible. If you drive around with no nitrogen in your shocks, they'll start leaking out all the hydraulic fluid, and then it does more wear and tear than just a simple rebuild can fix. So if you hear any noises in your car, it's making any clunking noises, it's a good time to check your shocks. What clued us in that the shocks were bad was when Christian drove the car, he could hear some real bad clunking coming from the rear. And our worst offender of the four is one of the rear shocks. So now, how often should you have to rebuild your dampers? MCS is a motorsports damper. We tell people every 2 to 3 seasons in a dedicated race car is good insurance. It's relatively inexpensive per corner to have them rebuilt. They're done right in Alpharetta, Georgia at MCS themselves. They do it in-house. They have a very fast turnaround. It is not really a profit center per se, so you're gonna get the best deal there. So we encourage people, if you do need to have MCSs rebuilt, send them into there. Öhlins, you can send them in Öhlins USA, or there's several rebuilders they've authorized, including Inertia Labs here in Dallas. A lot of monotube dampers can be rebuilt at kind of the jack-of-all-trades shock shops because the seals are all fairly similar and there's some interchangeability between the brands. But when you have parts damage, they really need to go to the manufacturer or their approved authorized shops to get shock shafts or bodies or things like that to be replaced. What I'm talking about is simple wear and tear, loss of nitrogen or any kind of hydraulic leaking, and what to look for. All right, this is a rear damper from this car, and we knew from driving it we could hear some noises, and Christian kind of could tell when he had the car in the air that the rear dampers might need a nitrogen refill and a rebuild. And you can see that when I press them in, and I'm putting my body weight on it, and it's coming out, but it's really slow and it's making a lot of cavitation noises. So these really need to go in and be looked at. Normally, when it's really dead, you'll push this in, it doesn't come out at all. I mean, it's completely out of nitrogen. One of the rears is worse than the other, and it's like a dead spot in there where it's just, there's not a lot of nitrogen charge. Yeah, go ahead and push that in. Yeah, so that one, it's really giving them good resistance, and it's not like flopping around. There's not a dead spot in that damper. So the fronts are good, but because they're so old and they've been sitting outside for so long, we're gonna send all 4 in and get them rebuilt. It's just good insurance. It's rare you just have one shock rebuilt when they're 8 years old. It's a good time to send them all in. This is a brand new Öhlins damper, just a set we have going out today. And you can do the same thing. You can press them in with your body. This one's brand new, so it's pretty firm. And it should push back nice and smoothly. No weird, hesitations or stuttering, which is what we saw in those MCSs that had been sitting outside for 8 years. Typical life on an Öhlins is probably 5 to 10 years, in normal conditions. And same for the MCS if it's stored indoors and it's not abused and driven off-road. And what you don't want to do is send it in complete like this. We want to take the spring, the top mount off, and even these adapter bushings in the bottom. I went ahead and cleaned these up. Got a little bit of the TISM, but they will clean them at MCS. So this is how you should send it in. This way, you're not having to reset your ride heights. So these are already locked in place. They can check them for spherical wear. So these sphericals are tight. And what you're looking for is any movement up and down on the spherical would mean this needs to be replaced. They can service those at MCS. We can actually service those here too. If you have, our top mounts, this is a really old, this is probably a 18, 20-year-old top mount from Vorschlag. And what you want to check, you grab the spherical between your finger and thumb and move it up and down. And this came off a car that had been in service for like 15 years. So we use it as an example to show people, you can't physically see it, but you can feel it. When you do send a camber plate into Vorschlag, it's helpful to send in the whole plate so we can check for other hardware and see if it needs any other work. Yeah, we need to see at least the spherical bearing holder itself so we can replace the spherical bearing. We have a whole fixture here we use, and I'll show that in a second, to replace those. This is not something that's serviceable in the field. It takes a pretty elaborate fixture to press this in and out correctly, a new snap ring. There's some goop we put on the bearing, a bearing retaining compound. So, and then we can check the hardware. You can even send the bolt ring and top ring if you have that on your camber plates, and we can check those and replace any hardware that's bad. So here's our 4 shocks. This is how you want to send them in to be rebuilt so that they can't lose any of your extra parts. They don't want to see the springs or the top mounts or any of the adapter bushings. So we've got them all. Again, we cleaned them up. They'll clean them up there. You don't need to do that. We've checked them all, and they're ready to go. We just need to make sure when you send them in, and they have instructions for this, you have to fill out a form with them, and so they know whose shocks are whose, and they will want you to package these so that there's no metal-to-metal contact in shipping, because that's going to damage them. So they need to be wrapped properly in a good box. Okay, so this is the worst of the 4, and you can see when I compress it, it's got some dead spots in it where it's not reacting like it should. It's not smoothly going in and out. It's low on nitrogen, and there was some real big residue around here. That normal amount of seepage of hydraulic fluid is called weeping. There's going to be a little bit there. It's a racing shock. It's not meant to be an OEM service kind of shock. So a little bit of fluid here is okay. If you see a lot of hydraulic fluid, then that shock's got to be pulled from service immediately and sent in. All right, thanks for watching our short video. Hopefully it was informative, and you know now how to check your shocks and your top mounts for wear. Thanks.